are you? Thanks again for joining us this afternoon. I hope you're enjoying your lunch, and let's learn a little bit about backup and disaster recovery. This is another webinar in our series at MVP Network Consulting that we do for your educational purposes. It will also be posted on our new addition to our website, MVP University. So no business is immune from downtime. Ikram Masabini will be the presenter this evening. My name is Kevin Kirby. Who is Kevin Kirby? I'm the VP of Sales at MVP Network Consulting. My background is in marketing, and I've been in the IT business for about 6 years. Worked with a lot of dental, a lot of medical offices in my day as well. And we are very happy and pleased to be working with you and showing you some things that you may not know about backup disaster recovery. The Business Insider, CEO of MVP, is Ikram Masabini. He's an electrical engineer with over 15 years of experience now in this business. Certified HIPAA consultant and author of Computers Should Just Work. Among his credentials are certified IT security consultant and among many other technical certifications. And if you would like to reach Ikram, it's ikram@mvpworks.com. So I'm going to pass it over to Ikram right now and let him get into how you can protect your business better with a secure backup disaster recovery solution. Now, Ikram Masabini.
Hello, everybody. Thanks for joining us. We're going to go through what backup is, what disaster recovery is, what business continuity is, and the difference between them, and what's important for a company to have, and what downtime really is, and what it costs. So I'll start with what we call the perfect storm. More data being created now than it ever have in the short time period that we've had computers, if you will. Every day we create new documents. Every day we create new posts, new blogs. We're always online. We're generating a lot of data in our business. The amount of data is increasing. The value of data is increasing because we put our life on our data now. Without it, if your PCs go down, if your server goes down, it truly hinders your performance to actually do work. And the risk of losing data becomes higher and more prevalent because if you don't have that info, you can't function. You can't service your clients, your patients. You can't do the work that you're supposed to be doing. So since more data is being created and the value of data is increasing, a greater risk of losing data is quite a bit high. So it's important to know that from Hurricane Sandy to severe failures to security breaches to other things that happen, that there is a lot of different factors that will allow you the data to crash, not only to get lost, not only server crashing. So you got to evaluate your risk. Not a question of if it's going to happen, but when it's going to happen. 25% of PCs will fail within the first year. PCs are just machines that we built, right? So hard drives, if you see a picture of the hard drive right here, it has a spinning plate. That spinning plate is a piece of metal that actually spins and has a needle that goes across of it. That's how it reads the data. The older the hard drive gets, the metal breaks down a little bit from the needle going on top of it. Film and metal deposits go in the middle right here of the spindle, and it causes the hard drive to crash. So 25% of all PCs will fail within this year, and 24% of all companies said they've experienced some kind of a full data disaster, and that number came from Forrester Research. So quite a bit of people. So basically what we're saying, 1 out of 4 people is experiencing an issue. So is it worth the risk to be unprepared? And the idea here is what we're trying to do is to show you how to get prepared. 70% of small businesses that experience a major data loss go out of business within a year. Because if they have a data loss, they weren't able to recover, they don't know who owes them money. They don't know what they have to do next. They have to try to scramble, which causes a lot of issues for the clients, for them and for their clients, and it causes their clients to lose faith in them, and then they start going somewhere else. So data and uptime of your computer systems are key to be focused on. So recovery time is also an option, a big issue. Because if you have backup, that's great. That's one step. But backup means that you have your data, but it may take you up to a week to restore that backup. It may take you a significant amount of time to restore it. So if your actual server has crashed, even though you have a backup of the server, you still have to fix the problem first before you could restore that backup. So meaning having to order additional parts, having to make sure that the server is functional, and fixing whatever issue it may be, and waiting for the parts to come in, then do a restore. And depends on the amount of data, restores can take hours, days even. So how long can your business be down without it affecting your bottom line? Is it seconds? Is it minutes? Is it hours? Is it days? It can never be down. These are the questions you got to ask yourself to realize how important it is to not only have a backup solution, but have a disaster recovery and business continuity solution plan in place. We're going to show you how to do that today. So small and medium-sized businesses are at a greater risk because they don't think about everything that they need to do to make sure that they're protected properly. They may have business insurance, but they don't have data insurance. And that's where this comes in, when what we're going to talk about. So because they have fewer resources to prevent data disaster. Small, medium-sized businesses also have limited resources to combat a disaster. So they call one person to come in and help them. And if you're working with us, that's great. So we would help you get you up and running. But if you don't have our disaster recovery appliance in place, we may be handcuffed on how fast we can get you back up and running. Small and medium-sized businesses definitely can't afford to lose valuable data because that's all their business. They can't afford to not produce revenue. Every day they have to produce a revenue because a lot of small and medium-sized businesses are working daily and need to sell to survive. They lose loss of competitive edge if they're down. People go to other providers of that same service. And it gives them a negative impact on reputation, a negative impact with their customers or patients, and potential regulation and non-compliance is a big issue with that also, because with HIPAA and PCI, they now require you to have a disaster recovery solution in place. You have to document it, how you're going to do it, whether being manual or automated. But obviously, if you use EMR, it's important to know that a disaster recovery solution needs to be implemented within your practice. So downtime is a business concern, obviously. So unplanned downtime may be an IT function, but it's a business concern, because if you go down, IT has to bring you back up, but you still have to talk to your patients and your clients to explain to them that you can't get them the info that they need. You can't service them until your computers are back up. An average mid-sized company has 16 to 20 hours of network and system or application downtime per year. That came from Gartner. Many compliance regulation like HIPAA, PCI require a data backup and a data recovery plan to be implemented for the practice. It's important to know that, and it's important to know what it is and how to implement it if there is an issue. So protecting your data is protecting your business. Your data is your business. So think of it this way. Do you have business insurance for your building if you own one, for your employees? So why not your business data? You should have insurance for that data as well. And the insurance is not you don't go to an insurance provider to get it. You go to an IT provider to be able to show you how to secure and insure your data from, and literally eliminate downtime, even if your server catches on fire. We'll demo later and show you how that would happen. Odds are you use your backup and disaster recovery solution before you'll ever use your insurance. Odds are you will have an issue with your server where you need to be operational quickly, and if you have a disaster recovery appliance in place, it will help you be back up and running within minutes. And we're going to show you how that works and explain it. But it's important to know that you need to have a disaster recovery solution and plan in place. So regardless, the source of unplanned downtime, it will cost your business money. So whether being an act of God, a hurricane, a loss of power, a failure on the server, a hard drive, a power supply, whatever it may be, it's going to cost money unless you're able to recover quickly. Because some of our manufacturing clients did not have an interruption in service, the cost savings to them was easily in tens of thousands of dollars because we're able to get them up and running quickly. So you got to think about how fast can you recover from a down emergency. So if you have backup, that's great, but what can you do with that backup if your server is crashed? You need a functioning server to restore that backup onto it. And what we're saying is there's different ways to do this, where you don't need a functioning server. You can come back up and running until you fix your down server. So don't prepare and pay later. So cost to recreate 20 megabytes of data, and this came from National Computer Security Association. So if it's sales data, 20 megs of it is usually equal about $17,000. Accounting data is equal about $19,000. Engineering data is up to $98,000. Medical data, I call it invaluable because it's really patient care and it's life's at stake. But really, at the end of the day, that data needs to be available for the providers, for the workers, and for every employee that you have to make sure that they can get to it and do their work. When you have interruptions in service, it disrupts your entire day and hopefully not an entire week. So cost of downtime has a lot of factors. All internal business processes will cease to work, billing, HR, internet, etc. Lost sales revenue. Sales will have no access to customers and product data. They won't be able to provide them with quotes or get them answers. Somebody just put us on hold, so whoever put us on hold, I hope they come back quickly. So I'm going to wait 1 minute here before we continue. Okay, thank you for picking us back up. Lost employee productivity. No system to keep them working. Obviously, if lost employee productivity would happen if the system is not working. No communication, no email if your server is down. If you still host your email internally, if you host it in the cloud, that's how we recommend it, and we recommend you do, and make sure the email is encrypted, especially if you're dealing with HIPAA or PCI compliancy. Cost to restore IT systems costs a lot of money. Material loss, disposal and cleanup costs, financial impact of customers' dissatisfaction. We could speak volumes to that. Contract penalties if you're not able to deliver on time due to an outage. Compliance violation if applicable. Upstream and downstream value chain ripple effect. In other words, if your vendors or your customers are expecting information back from you or not able to send it to them because your system is down, will cause issues. IT and employee recovery costs. Obviously, you'll have to pay your IT provider to come help you recover. And your employees have to wait and not do anything where you're paying them to just sit around. So it's important to know the value of a disaster recovery solution to be put in place. What happens if we crash? I want to make sure that my employees are continuing to work, my clients are continuing to be serviced properly, and I'm able to do the work that I can do, whether being accounting or HR or what have you. So if you do have a downtime and you can't recover quickly, you risk the potential litigation and loss of stock value, missed deadlines that result in employee overtime because now they have to work later to catch up from the downtime that you've had, and obviously priority shipping charges because you weren't able to do something. Now you have to maybe overnight something quicker or what have you. There's a lot of different costs of downtime that you could look into. Most importantly, the idea here is to have a plan in place to make sure that your systems remain up and running and remain available. Even if you have a catastrophic or an actual system failure, a piece of hardware crashed, and it happens, hardware crashes, but it's about having the plan and having the redundancy. We're going to show you how that would work. So now for the good news. We talked about what would happen if you would lose some data or you would be down. But you can keep your business up and running. BDR stands for backup and disaster recovery. So it's no longer backup. It's backup and disaster recovery with business continuity in mind. Solution that deliver intelligent business continuity to your business. An IT service provider like us who manage your entire process always implements a disaster recovery solution in place. Obviously, you have to approve it. But it's important to have it, and we discuss it with our clients. All the new business owners that joined us today, or office managers, this is something that you need to be aware of, how it works, how it functions, and how your IT provider can get you back up and running. So an ROI on this, a return on investment on this, that will yield financial and business benefits is easy to see, even if you use it once a year. You know, and most of our clients, you know, you don't use it often. You know, insurance is at worst is its weight in gold if you only use it once. But this is a little more than insurance, because computers and servers crash a lot more often, and you'll be using it a lot more often. But if you use it once, it's worth its weight in gold, and it's important to have. So intelligent business continuity, it's a secure backup of business critical data, but it's not only on the data, but the entire server environment that the data resides in. Think of it as disaster recovery while continuing to do business even though you had a catastrophic event. Ability to keep the business running even during a disaster. Complete data restoration, a competitive advantage because it allows you to stay up even though there was a big issue. I mean, we live in Buffalo. During the 7-foot snowstorm that we had, caused a lot of ripple effects for some of our clients. We were able to get quite a bit of clients up and running who actually had lost and got issues with their network because of the storm. We were able to get them up and running in the cloud. They've lost power, but they were functioning in the cloud with all their data, even though their servers are locally to them. The servers had no power, and the disaster appliance had no power to it either. However, because we push every data that we have, that you have, onto our cloud, we were able to get them up and running on our cloud until power got restored and we were able to get them back up and running normally. So there's a lot of different ways to slice that pie, if you will. A perceived added value, a business value. When you talk to your patients and your clients, you tell them, I have solutions and I've invested in our internal infrastructure to make sure that we never go down. That's why they should do business with you. That's why we're bringing you that info. A peace of mind for businesses and clients, really, to know that not only are you protected and have backup, and that's the least you should have, but even if you do have an issue, you should be back up and running within minutes. And that way it allows you to meet many compliance requirements, HIPAA and PCI being them. So traditional backup really can't keep up. So traditional backup recovery can take weeks following a disaster, especially if it's a big disaster. Recovery with a business continuity appliance, recovery is reduced to hours, minutes, or even seconds. The difference is the amount of data that you have and how fast it takes for that VM to start. With traditional backup, it has high risk for human error because somebody has to check backup manually and switch tapes or swipe hard drives. With an appliance, it's a full automation backup. You don't have to touch it. On the traditional backup side, it's difficult to test it. Test backup is working properly. You have to go restore something. With a business continuity solution, it's a screenshot backup verification. It actually goes through the backup and restores and starts the virtual server that gets put on that appliance and tests it itself on a daily basis. So it's guaranteed that the backup that happened properly, and it's available for you to use and virtualize your entire server, not just data. Backup speeds are a lot slower than a business continuity solution, so the backup speeds are a lot faster with business continuity. It takes less time to back up. It takes a lot less time to bring you back up and running. On a traditional backup, it's a physical to virtual conversion that will need to happen to bring you back up and running, a restore process that needs to happen to bring you back up and running. With an appliance, an incremental backup can be instantly virtualized, and you could be back up and running in minutes. There's no redundant backups in multiple locations when it comes to a backup. You may take a hard drive or a tape home with you. Please don't forget it in your car, and make sure it's not in direct sunlight, because direct sunlight does wipe out tapes and does cause issues with hard drives. If you are doing that, think about it and think about trying to do a restore just to make sure that the data actually still exists on that tape. Obviously, with the business continuity, you don't take anything off-site. Everything happens off-site automatically, so it's automatic, redundant backup, allowing businesses to run off the secure cloud in an event of a disaster.
One thing I would like to add as well, in addition to what Ethan said, let's say, because we do have a lot of clients that do take, let's say, a USB removable hard drive off-site with them, and they want to switch that out on a basis just to make sure that they do have some sort of file backup off-site. Well, that is not a HIPAA compliant means of backing up, because that actual hard drive that you have most likely is not encrypted, and if you lose that, or if somebody steals your car or robs your car, and they have that hard drive, it's up to you, and the obligation is to you to report that as a breach, because you're losing that data and that patient data. Unless that specific hard drive is encrypted, which 90% of them that we've seen in our experience are not encrypted. So that's something that you want to take into account also, is not only is it a backup and a disaster recovery, but it's also compliant with any type of compliance agency that you have to go through, whether it's HIPAA, PCI, Sarbanes-Oxley, and financial institutions. So take that into account as well.
Absolutely. Another piece is what Kevin was talking about is encrypting data. So the hard drives that the data is on is usually not encrypted. Encryption needs to happen on every single device, USB device, or actually laptop that you take home with you. Make sure your hard drives are encrypted, because you still will have data on them. And if you take them outside your facility where there's no firewall or protection in place, and if you lose that hard drive that is not encrypted, you do have to report it. If you don't, if it's encrypted, you just lost the laptop, and nobody can get that data. However, with backup, it's the same way. That hard drive needs to be encrypted. With business continuity solution, it's an AES 256 and SSL key-based encryption on all your data. It meets HIPAA and SOX and PCI requirements, and it sends all that information to a HIPAA approved data center and PCI approved data center to make sure that even if your building caught on fire, you're able to restore your servers and continue to work literally in minutes. Even if you go home and you have to log in remotely, you'll get access to your data and continue to work. The idea is to always be available, and that's what a true disaster recovery with business continuity plan allows your company to do. So when recovering data from a tape failure rate exceeds 50%, because tapes have a shelf life, a lot less than hard drives. So if you're using tapes, we need to talk as soon as possible. If you're using hard drives, they still have a shelf life. But because if you take a hard drive home with you, hard drives get banged up, they have metal plates on them, like we talked about earlier, that can cause deposits, that can cause issues. You need to test and make sure, one, not only is it encrypted, but you need to test your backup. With business continuity, it's an actual appliance that sits in one area that's not movable. Minimal risk of corrupted data or data loss will ever happen. And obviously potential of thefts, because you could lose your tape, you could lose your hard drive, but your offsite backup happens through the internet, so you can't lose that. So that's the difference between just your traditional backup and disaster recovery with business continuity. It's kind of a 1-2 punch. So backup, disaster recovery with secure data, secure backup of business data, timely recovery of operation following a disaster, that must work together with an intelligent business continuity solution. So not only do you have backup and you could restore, you have a disaster recovery in place, but you need to be able to continue to work. You need to bring it back to the actual function that your employees do, and they need to be able to do those functions whether you had an issue or not. So you need to maintain network uptime during a disaster, maintain critical operation during disasters. And that's what business continuity does for you, and that's what you need to implement to be compliant and to make sure that you save money and time and frustration from employees and your patients and clients. So we're going to talk about that solution and how it works. So it's an award-winning technology and support, what we call recovery, if you will. It's an intelligent business continuity solution. an instant local and offsite virtualization can happen on an appliance, and we'll explain how it works. Basically, you get an appliance. It's a server that you get that sits next to your existing server, and that all the way down to every 5 minutes and takes a snapshot of every changes that you've done to your server. So you save the Word document, it automatically backs it up. As you work, within 5 minutes, you would have a snapshot of the entire system onto that appliance. Heaven forbid you have a disaster, the server crashes, you got a virus, it doesn't even have to be hardware related. We go onto that appliance and start an instant local virtualization. It actually boots up that server or that workstation. It could be a workstation, you know, the owner's workstation. We want it to always be available. We could do that. So once we start that, it's available. You can ping it. You could use it. The employees don't know that it actually went down. They think you had a little hiccup and it's starting to work. And then we go and fix whatever the problem is and then do a bare metal restore back on it to get you back operational. But that's off hours and you don't see and feel any downtime. It also has an inverse chain technology. In other words, what it does is it backs up the latest changes first. And it has the base backup already in place. You don't change all your data all the time, so it makes whatever changes you've done get saved first to that appliance. It gives you a screenshot backup verification, so it makes sure that the backup happened, it makes sure that the backup happened properly, and it verifies that you could restore from that backup. It gives you backup insights on when it happened and how it happened. It has an end-to-end encryption, so that you know all your backup is encrypted, even going through the cloud. It gives you a VMDK. VMDK is basically a file that encapsulates your entire server, your operating system, all your software on it, all your data, all your documents. It makes it in one file where we can actually transport that file to a different box. Let's say your server crashed and we needed to buy another box. If you buy that box, until the box comes in and gets set up and what have you, you're still operational, and you're operational through the appliance. Once the new box comes in, we take that VMDK file and export it to it, and you're back up and running right away. It's secure. We have bi-coastal data centers that we put the data in, better bare metal restore, which is a lot quicker, and obviously, as you guys know, we provide 24/7, 365 US-based technical support. So how does it work? I explained it a little bit, but I'll show you guys in this little layout. It's a recovery in minutes, on-site and off-site virtualization of servers and workstations. It's encryption, so it has AES 256-bit encryption on local devices and transmission all the way to the data center, and that's what we call the hybrid cloud solution. It's hybrid cloud because you put a local device and backup in your end-user owned, which is your network, which will back up workstations and servers. We decide which workstations, we decide which servers, and that appliance now backs them up down to 5 minutes through your firewall, goes through the internet securely to our data centers that we use, one on the East Coast and one on the West Coast, so we guarantee uptime all the time. So this is how it works, and it's important to know. I'm going to show you guys a little video here that will allow you to see it in action.
Hello everyone, my name is Ian McCord, and today I'm bringing you the most exciting demo in the IT industry, the Datto Disaster Demo. Now, before I get into it, let me first introduce the technology, Cirrus, a new standard in intelligent business continuity. Now, with Cirrus, there's a few major features that I want to touch on. The first, the backup agent, Shadow Snap. It's a redundant backup agent, so if one fails, the next one kicks in automatically. Next, the inverse chain technology. With inverse chain, you're actually able to save backups without the full backup being below it or dependent on it. This is revolutionary because you only save unique data, and every point is able to restore, virtualize, or you can even delete any point without affecting the chain. Screenshot verification is a real test of your backup health. You're able to actually spin up virtualizations automatically on the Cirrus appliance, and then it runs a check on it, and it tells you whether it passed or it failed. You can run this every hour of the day. Just last year, we released SpeedSync. This changed the game for how data is transferred into the data center. You can prioritize backups, and you can also send backups on a certain schedule. And finally, instant, local, and offsite virtualization. Now, the best way for me to prove that is to actually demo it. So, I've got a Windows 7 box that I'm actually running a remote desktop session with the presentation. What I did is I rigged up this Windows 7 box to catch on fire. So that's exactly what I'm going to do. And there we go. Our Windows 7 box has now been destroyed. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to virtualize that Windows 7 box on the Cirrus appliance. So I just go into the interface, I click on Local Virtualization, I click Start Latest VM. Now a lot of people ask me, what's actually going on right now? Well, on the back end, it's taking the backup, which is saved in a virtual machine disk image format, and it's virtualizing it right on the Cirrus appliance in VirtualBox. It spins it up, and then it gives you an RDP connection that you can connect to. Also, every Cirrus appliance is able to do simultaneous virtualizations. Now, since every server wasn't created equal, you can prioritize and you can set how much RAM and how many CPU cores to each virtualization. It's already spun up. I just click Connect to VM via RDP. Here's my download. I click Connect, and I'm in.
Now you notice what happened here. The workstation crashed. Cirrus and Datto are the solutions that we use. So that's we're their vendor, and that's the solution that we use. We utilize our and their data center for the offsite virtualization. But it's their technology that we license and we bring to the Buffalo market. So what happened here is he took that workstation that he was working on, crashed it by unplugging it, basically, and was able to go to the Cirrus appliance, click Start, and start VM, which is start the virtual machine, and all of a sudden, literally within not even a minute, that machine was started, operational, and he was able to go back into it and log into it. I'm going to have him finish.
Before Cirrus came out, this would take hours, even days. Now, it's instant because we don't save our files in proprietary file formats. We actually save them right into that virtual machine disk image. You can also export that disk image, or you can transport the VM onto VMware Center. All I need to do is click on the demo, and it's pulling it up. Now, the other great thing that you have with Cirrus is you're able to configure custom alerts. You can have alerts sent out weekly, you can create monthly reports, and also everything that goes wrong with the appliance comes to you in a ticket format that you can actually search the knowledge base with. So if anyone else had the same error that you had, you can see how it was resolved. And here we go. We're back in, and I'll just go right to the very next slide in the presentation.
And we'll go back to our presentation. But that's basically what we wanted to show you, is the capability of how a workstation can crash, being unplugged, have no power to it, and literally within a minute bring you back up and running. You could do that with a workstation, or maybe some key workstation within your organization, like the owner or the CFO, or what have you, or the front desk person. That workstation always needs to be available. Or any of your servers. Obviously, some servers are more important than others. And the way that we size these appliances is by the hard drive space that we need. And we come in, we discuss with you the need and how it works, and we discuss how much hard drive space you're going to need, and then we explain that to you, and then we implement it. So basically, that's what backup and disaster recovery is all about. It's about being able to be up and available and to be able to have a tool to get you operational as soon as possible. Now, what happens when you actually have a catastrophic failure within your entire environment? We'll go back to our video and continue, but what happens is we're able to spin those back up into the cloud, and we'll show you how that works.
And that slide appropriately is, can you afford downtime? Businesses that incur downtime can go bankrupt, you can lose a ton of data. It's just a terrible thing for your clients to go through. When Google goes offline for 5 minutes, it makes national news. It's costing downtime is costing the IT industry billions of dollars. A lot of your clients think that either they don't have enough money for it, or the technology just doesn't exist for their aging servers. Well, that's not true. With Cirrus, we can back up Windows 2000 and newer. So this truly isn't data backup anymore. And with that, I've also rigged up my Cirrus appliance that's running the virtualization to catch on fire. And that's exactly what I'm going to do.
So here, your entire environment is down. You no longer have any servers, not even the appliance that you had backing you up. Everything caught on fire. Everything is down. What do you do at that point? What do you do if you have a 7-foot snowstorm that you cannot drive to your office, but you still need to continue to work? You lost power in your office. You need to work. What do you do?
Now that we've charred both the Windows 7 box and the Cirrus appliance, this presentation definitely has to be over. But that's not true. All of the Cirrus appliances are able to virtualize in the Datto data center. And I'm using tools only provided to the partners. I click into my resale portal, I click the Cirrus device, and I click on the server icon. And I can launch my snapshot. So when I create VM, a lot of people wonder, well, I know what happens locally, but what's happening in the cloud when I actually do a virtualization? The crazy thing, it's the same exact procedure, because the Cirrus appliance was built just like the node, in that your backup image never changes formats. It stays in the same format, and it's virtualized using the same processes. So I can see where my server is located, and I can also create custom passwords. I can link these virtualizations in the cloud together. We've got public IPs on reserve. That way you can run your Exchange server right from the cloud. And when Hurricane Sandy wiped through the East Coast, that's exactly what we did for over 300 companies at the same time.
So what he's doing now is he's actually working from his home office. Your building was on fire, or there was a flood, or there was a snowstorm. So what we're doing now is showing the tertiary backup, disaster recovery, and virtualization to the cloud, not to your local appliance that would be in your office. So what we're doing now is we're emulating somebody that would actually be at their house who still has internet connection at home or with their laptop from a local spot coffee, if you will. Anywhere you can get internet access, we can actually bring up your servers in our cloud environment so that you can see your data and you can see all of your applications from there as well.
I download my RDP connection shortcut just like I was doing with my local appliance. I click connect, and there we go. We can actually see it spinning up in the data center. Now, when I talk about Datto data centers, what I'm referring to is our bi-coastal data center network.
The data centers are one on the East Coast, one on the West Coast, where your data goes. It's secure, it's encrypted, it's HIPAA compliant, and it only belongs to you. Nobody else can see your data, but it gives you the protection of being able to be operational right away. So that's basically what disaster backup and disaster recovery is all about. It's about being available. It's about having a redundancy and having encryption on your data without ever having to worry about downtime again. I hope this was beneficial for everybody and you guys enjoyed the demo. I wanted to add and talk about on our website, we've added the MVP University, which will include the tips and tricks, includes ebooks, and a lot of information. We're trying to make all our clients educated consumers. It makes you better at what you do. It makes you smarter at using technology. And at the end of the day, makes you a better partner to MVP and MVP a better partner to you. So please go to mvpworks.com. Click on MVPU. You'll see it on the top or the bottom. or somewhere in the middle. We have them everywhere. You won't miss it. You'll see this icon right here. I hope you like the design. Our good friend Christian Burnley here designed it. You'll see tips and tricks on how to do quite a bit of things within Outlook, within your iPhone. They're quick 2-minute videos. You'll see some ebooks that you can download and read. All the webinars, including this one, will be posted onto the MVP University site. A lot of frequently asked questions will be there. If you have any questions that you'd like to ask us, please submit them to jstewart@mvpworks.com, and we'll answer them and post them for you. And then we take IT to 11, or take it to 11 methodology, and how we deliver IT services is also included there to show you how MVP can help you. For all the clients that are joined today, we appreciate you coming in to learn something new, hopefully. And for all the new people, we are looking forward to hearing from you. If you guys have any questions, please let us know. And I hope you guys enjoyed this demo. Have a great day.